Hi, and welcome to Deciphering the Zodiac. This is your collective weekly reading for January 11th through January 17th. If this week already feels quieter, more reflective, or emotionally revealing in subtle ways, you're exactly where you're meant to be. This isn't a week that demands urgency. It's a week that asks for awareness. There's a lot happening beneath the surface right now: shifts in perception, emotional realizations, and a growing sense that something is changing internally before it shows up externally. Take a breath. Nothing needs to be rushed. Before we begin, take a moment to like and subscribe so you don't miss your weekly guidance. Now let's move into the energy of this week and what it's asking of you. Collective weekly energy, January 11 to 17. All right, let's talk about this week. If last week felt emotionally heavy, raw, or like things were surfacing out of nowhere, that makes sense. We're coming off the full moon in Cancer, and now we're in the integration phase. This week isn't loud. It's not chaotic. It's honest. You may notice your emotions aren't as intense anymore, but your clarity is sharper. You're not spiraling, you're deciding. And that's the shift. The Cancer-Capricorn theme still active even though the full moon has passed. The Cancer-Capricorn axis is still active, and it shows up as an inner dialogue. What do I need emotionally? What am I responsible for? And where have I been choosing responsibility at the expense of myself? This week, you may realize you don't need to explain yourself the way you used to. Some things don't require justification anymore, they simply don't fit. Pluto in Aquarius. The quiet realizations Pluto's influence this week isn't dramatic, it's subtle. This is the kind of energy where you suddenly think, oh, I'm done with that. No announcement. No confrontation. Just a shift in perception. This can show up around friendships, communities, or the role you play in group spaces. Once something clicks, there's no unseeing it. Saturn plus Neptune in Pisces. Emotional maturity check. This pairing continues to ask an important question: can you be compassionate without overextending yourself? This week, you may notice greater awareness of emotional drains, less desire to rescue or absorb others' emotions, a craving for peace that's real, not imagined. This isn't about becoming distant or cold. It's about becoming emotionally responsible. Uranus in Taurus. Redefining stability. Uranus continues to redefine what safety and stability mean for you. This week, that can show up as sudden realizations around money, comfort, emotional security, physical space. You may recognize that something familiar isn't actually soothing, it's just familiar. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. Lilith in Sagittarius. Truth without apology. Lilith's energy this week works internally. This is about telling yourself the truth. About what you believe, about what you're done justifying, about what no longer aligns. You may catch yourself thinking, I don't believe that anymore. I'm allowed to choose differently. That honesty is powerful and freeing. How to work with this week. This is not a week to force decisions. It's a week to notice what feels emotionally sustainable. Ask yourself, what feels steady instead of pressured? What feels like obligation rather than alignment? What choice brings relief instead of tension? The right direction this week won't feel urgent. It will feel calm. As the week unfolds, emotional clarity arrives quietly, through realization, not confrontation. A pattern makes sense. A reaction softens. And you may realize you don't need closure, you need permission to move differently. There's also a strong intuitive undercurrent. You may sense things before they're spoken. Just remember, awareness does not equal responsibility. You are allowed to witness without fixing. Ground what you're learning emotionally into small, stabilizing actions, not big decisions, just gentle adjustments. This is the kind of week where healing happens quietly, where growth integrates instead of announces itself. If emotions surface unexpectedly, don't rush to explain them away. Let them pass through. They're leaving information behind. As you move through this week, remember, clarity doesn't always come from doing more. Sometimes it comes from noticing what no longer triggers you the same way, and what you're no longer willing to carry emotionally. You don't need to force alignment. You're already integrating it. If this reading resonated with you, let me know in the comments what stood out or what you're feeling shift internally. Your reflections may help someone else feel seen. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you continue receiving your weekly readings. Stay grounded, stay intuitive, and I'll see you next time.